I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
And
I'm going to kick us off.
We're recording remotely.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Welcome to the new normal. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this is the absolute most wild story. It's got me heated. It's got me up in arms. So I think we've talked about it on the podcast before, the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook, which
Yes.
huge fan of. Women helping women.
Great. I'm here for it.
So apparently there's this guy in Chicago that he's just a repeat offender. He's been featured on their local private, by the way, it's private, Facebook group. Are We Dating the Same Guy? They're
For the listeners who are maybe potentially new here, tell us what Are We Dating the Same Guy is.
Okay. Are We Dating the Same Guy is a group that you can get on to as a single woman. There's local ones. So like Chicago, they have their own. So you can go on and you can be like, I matched with this guy. He's a complete psycho, like steer clear of him.
Right.
Super, super great. Well, this guy.
Or like a serial dater or whatever, but most cities have this, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this guy, he is mass suing his past dates for $75 million after they posted negative reviews of him.
Okay.
$75 million. This man thinks.
Yep.
How many women? How many women do we know?
27 named women, including moderators of the Facebook group and Meta. He's suing Facebook too.
You're gonna sue Zuck for this? Okay. Good luck with that, sir.
Great. Good for you.
His lawyer says the defendants broadcast their outrageous, cruel, and malicious lies about the plaintiff. I'm sorry, they posted receipts. Like they had screenshots of his text.
It's only defamation if it's untrue, isn't that right?
There you go.
Exactly.
So, yes.
I don't see how this is going to go well for him. Also, apparently, him bringing notoriety to himself is already shooting himself in the foot because he is facing tax fraud charges.
Oh, so not only are you a piece of shit trying to date multiple women at the same time without their knowledge, you're also committing federal tax fraud. Cool.
This is going to work out so well for you.
I see nothing but blue skies in your future.
Exactly.
What? Bonkers.
I know.
What these people have what do you think the outcome was be? I'm telling you, no one has ever played your game, Christina. You got to put that on the market. Trademark. Consequences.
Yeah.
Play it through. What's that next step look like? Well, if you're on that board of life, life board.
I mean, and it's also
moving your little car forward.
Sir, do you not understand that this makes you look like a bigger tool? Like you look like a bigger asshole. Like do yourself a favor and just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up and
just
maybe
move to a different state.
Stop dating every woman in the city at the same fucking time. Or there's nothing. Look, you can Samantha Jones your life away. That's absolutely good for you. We love that. But we love an honest queen, okay? Samantha Jones is honest. You just you can't be like, you're the only one. You're the one for me. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Ugh. You just got to be honest about, like, I'm playing the field. I'm dating around. Like, don't make these people think that they're the only one, and then they won't need to compare receipts about it, all right?
Yep.
There's literally nothing wrong with dating around.
No.
There is a problem with exactly what you're saying, Keegan.
Lying.
Honesty. Yes.
That's right.
And then getting so hurt that you got caught so in your feels. But Cassie, women are emotional. Women are too emotional.
Right. We couldn't run a country. We're just too emotional.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I thought you guys would appreciate that.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's, priceless.
Well, I have a request. This is a repeat request from our editor, Thomas. So he's brought this up to me before. And then I just, life got in the way. And I don't think I ever brought it up on the podcast. But he had watched an episode of This American Life. And in that episode, and it was from quite a while ago, and in that episode, it was a whole episode talking about rats. Just rats as an animal, rats as a species, right?
Okay.
And in general, I'm going to go ahead and say off the top, controversial opinion possibly, I am in general pretty pro pet rat. Like
pro rat.
I am pro pet rat. I think that they're smart, they're cuddly. I've known quite a few of them, and I like them. Yeah. Okay, but the question,
I gotta be honest, I'm kind of not anti-rat in my hood either. I mean, as long as they're not being destructive. But like, I saw a dead rat the other day, and it breaks my fucking heart. Like I'm like, first of all, you're not supposed to put poison out in neighborhoods in LA. It's not supposed to do that because honestly, not only do rats get in it, but local dogs, raccoons, squirrels, all these other animals that are part of our ecosystem get into that and die. But I just saw a dead rat the other day, and I'm like, poor baby.
Listen,
that makes me sad.
Rats
I know. I'm sorry. I'm weird.
I'm pro rat in general. I'm pro animal in general, but like rats can be a problem, right? Like if you get too many of them, that's how you get the black plague. You know what I mean? Like that's how that shit happens, right? Like, so you got to be careful with the number of rats in your hood. I understand that. But
aren't birds just rats with wings?
They're not real.
Well, that's true.
It's not worth talking about, actually. They're simulations.
Sorry. Okay, got it.
So it doesn't matter.
Yes, got it.
However, okay, so in this American Life episode, the question that Thomas is posing is how many rats is too many rats? Because this guy
to own.
Like, let me tell you the story. So this guy, it was during lockdown, and he found a rat that was injured. And he took the rat inside.
He's me.
Right. He took the rat inside and he called up like a rat rescue. And he was like, what do I do with this rat? And it's during lockdown. So it's like, we can't help you. Here's what you can do to take care of the rat. So he did that. He like developed a rapport with this rescue and they convinced him to take in more rats. So he ended up taking in more and more rats. And it got to the point where like he had like 6 rats. Now at this point, he was dating, and I think lockdown was coming to an end. So we were going out, we were dating. The issue, and I will say, at the end of this, he ends up with something like 18 rats is the most he ends up having. So too many. No. First of all, too many right off the bat in any capacity. It's too many rats. Secondly. His rats are free range rats. He lets the rats have the run of the apartment.
No.
Okay. So he was saying, like, he's like, I was on a date at this time. I only had about 6 free range, free roaming rats in my house. And he's like, I went on a date. The date was going well. I was taking her back to my apartment. I was driving back to the apartment and I realized I hadn't told her about the rats.
That's very important information.
Can you fucking imagine? You get to your date's house and there's just rats like scurrying around all over the place. And you're like, oh yeah, by the way, there are just rats around.
I need to be warned.
You got to be warned. So he got really I need to be warned and I need you
to tell me. Yeah. No.
So he gets really self-conscious about this. And he's like, he just makes up an excuse. He just makes up an excuse to not take her to his house. Like they're on the way. They're like halfway there. She's in the car. And he makes up an excuse not to take her to his house because he doesn't want to try and explain the rat thing like on the way to the rat
on the
thing.
Spur.
You know what I mean?
This is smart. So far, this is smart.
So
That's smart.
He was basically saying like, this is really hindering my dating life. Like I don't know what to do about the rats. So then the question came like,
the rats.
How forgiving would you be of like how many rats is too many rats? How forgiving would you be about this? Is there like a weird pet thing? Like, this is a rat guy. And that would be a hard pass for some people. I actually found when trying to find this story again, I found on a rat subreddit that this is actually a very common thing with people who own rats trying to date. Is that like a lot of people are like, it's an immediate, no, it's a red flag deal breaker.
I've got thoughts. It is.
I do too.
It is very much a problem for me. the free range.
16
the free range is the problem.
Yes.
The free range is the problem, and the number. 16 to 18, anything. Like, I love cats. You have 18 cats? 18 cats is too many cats.
18 children, too many.
Way too many.
They all shit and piss.
Right.
Yep.
So your place is covered in rat shit and piss.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, that's a no.
So then the other question is,
yeah, you're right.
How do you feel
free range
about
is absolute no.
free range other animals? Because lots of people have free range rabbits that they just let run around.
Range dog.
Dogs are different.
I just let my cat live his life.
Cats are different. Dogs are different because cats, there's a designated.
Why?
Because they don't just like pee and poop everywhere.
Right.
I don't know. I've seen some dogs pee and poop everywhere.
Well, then that would be a red flag for me too. I'd
That's
be like
an owner
absolutely
situation.
Fucking no. Like,
right.
But most dogs don't do it in the house like that.
I'll say this: as long as, first of all, back to the original question, three rats maximum. That's the maximum.
That's your personal
I
max.
feel like you should have.
Okay.
That's a personal maximum. I just feel like it's not, after that part, you're not really doing a service to anything at that point. I understand being a rehab and doing the right thing and doing that stuff, but at some point, too much, right? Second to that, free range, not great. These aren't traditional free range animals. Now, if you have a pet rat in which like maybe you can lay down like a pad, or they have like a cage that they go into to use the restroom, that's different. If you have like rats that are trained to do that kind of thing, I think across the board, it's about how well is the animal trained. I have a friend who has a pet rabbit who is trained to go to a certain area to use, like, it's not quite a litter box, but like an area that is for that. That's kept clean. So I think
that's interesting to me though, because I thought rabbits were like, I didn't think that they could control where they pooped. Like, don't they just have droppings? Like when they're just like running around?
I think that there's like, he keeps the rabbit in a contained room when they're not home.
Okay, there's a rabbit room.
But
understood.
But they have an area, and I know this is so silly.
No, it's not.
But
like this is like a good conversation to have, because for me, even like, it's all personal, right? Like if you had 6 rats, if you had 6 rats and you take care of your place, built an enclosure for them, and there's like a nice big enclosure that they can all play around in that is contained, then I would be like, that's fine with me. I'm pretty easygoing about like a lot of those things. I think that rats are cute. Like, my issue is I'm not trying to like get busy on your couch with you and then a rat crawl out from the cushion. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
And also rats with their little cute little fingies and hands, they get into everything. I'm like, how are you baby proofing all of your cabinets, all of your drawers? Like, is a rat just gonna? I'm gonna be like using the restroom, and a rat's just gonna crawl out of a basket? Like, I can't. I need. It's giving me too much anxiety. I'm not trying to wake up with a rat, on my pillow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's and you have 18 of them. They're gonna be everywhere.
It's too much
in every crevasse,
and they're just going to keep procreating too, right? Like,
I mean, can you get them fixed? I don't know. I don't know how it works. Like, what do you do? Like, I don't know how it works. At the end of this story, eventually he ended up getting rid of all of his rats. They only have like a 2-year lifespan. So I think that they all ended up passing away, and then he just didn't get any more rats. But he really like fell in love with his rats. He loved them. They were his pets.
Sure.
And I get that. But I'm like, you have got to warn your dates.
Oh, absolutely.
Before you bring them into a free range rat environment.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. That's not. And with that many, like, I couldn't even do one free range.
Well, because
rat
you don't know where
situation.
they are.
No,
it's not the same as like a cat or a dog. Like, sometimes I can't find my cat.
Safe.
You know what I mean? Because she's sneaky and she'll hide. And I'm like, did my cat get out of a window or something? Like, I cannot find her, and then she's like behind something on the fridge, so like I just can't even imagine. I'm with you, Christina, like even one free range rat, because I'm like, where is it at any given time? Is it just gonna like pop up and surprise me? No.
It's not even the surprise me part. It just makes, I would be concerned for its safety. Right? Like, what if it gets into something it shouldn't? What if, there's a lot of what ifs. I wouldn't feel comfortable with a free range rat either. Not even one.
Oh my God.
So then
This is wild.
I guess that like so here's I've got an FMK then.
Okay.
Like
Oh, okay.
I think we have to I think we should FMK like unusual pet people, right? Like you've got like let's FMK like a
Snake
rat
guy.
Snake guy.
Snake guy.
Tarantula guy.
Bunny guy. Oh. Bugs guy.
Bugs guy. Yes. Because that is such a specific kind of person. And again, I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum. Like all like creatures need love. You know, if that's your thing, that's your thing. Good for you. It's not my thing personally, but I feel like there are certain like it's a certain
Snake
lifestyle.
guy.
It's a
Snake guy.
lifestyle.
There's stereotypes about
Right.
these guys.
Snake guy is giving Slipknot. It's it's giving affliction.
What's insane clown posse?
Yes.
And I love snakes. I actually really like snakes. I do.
I don't have like an affinity for them, but they don't bother me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely have a very clear vision of Snake Guy.
I do too. And Rat Guy, I feel like Rat Guy and Snake Guy are very similar. I feel like Rat Guy might be a little nerdier.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
Yep. I agree
Well,
completely.
I think Bug Guy
Yeah.
is the nerdiest of all of them. I think Bug Guy has a really banging comic book collection.
Yes.
He's wearing a lot of like Captain America Marvel t-shirts.
Yep.
You know, like
He has a hissing cockroach. They're like a real special. He's got a hermit crab that he's had for like 13 years
you know, okay,
or something.
I dig
I know
that. I
it's
dig the
not a bug,
hermit
but you
crab
know what I mean?
situation.
Like,
yeah.
he's like-
And again, this isn't to insult anyone. This is just jokes. This is just laughs.
I do think that Bug Guy would be the most attentive ones because that's a really like you have to research how to keep those
Take
things
care.
alive and take care of them and like very, very particular. So I do feel like he would be great at like helping out around the house and everything like
Well,
that.
but
Because he
do
just
we
seems
think
very
that-
competent.
Do we think that Snake Guy
Yeah.
is the most committed? Since I think of the three, snakes have the longest lifespan.
Oh,
and he's still wearing affliction. So
I think Snake Guy wants to be a player. I don't.
Yes.
I don't fuck with Snake Guy.
I don't either. I got to agree. I think I know what I might have to do.
Okay, go for it.
I do think that Bug Guy also might be the cleanest. Because I think that when you have multiple things, especially like you said, that require a lot of care, I don't think any of these people are clean. I'm gonna say it. I just don't. I think you're walking into a place that has a leather couch and a sticky floor,
And like
regardless.
a slight odor.
Oh, an undetectable. You're not quite sure what it is odor. It's not like socks necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
there is
Snake
there
Guy's
is
house
something
might smell
about
like socks.
there is something about reptile cages, and like I'm not sure what that is. Like you know, if you ever go to, you know, I'm from New Mexico. There's lots of like rattlesnake museums and stuff like that, and like if you go in there, you're like, what is that? It's a very specific smell. You know, I do think probably bugs smell the least. They're the least smelly of the three of these.
Yeah.
Right?
I think I'm gonna have to marry Bug Guy. He seems like a nerd. He seems to be like the guy who would. I think again. I stand by. I think he might have the cleanest apartment. I think that. Oh, look, this is pretty wild. I think that I'm going to. Oh man, I'm gonna fuck Rat Guy.
Yeah.
As long as they're not free range Rat Guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna marry Rat Guy, actually. Out of all three.
Okay.
I'm gonna marry Rat Guy. I do think that that rats are like the most like kind of snuggly out of all three of these.
Agree.
True.
And
I like them a lot. Like, listen, I watched like 2 rat videos on Instagram, and then it was just like, hey, do you want to see this video of a rat with its own tiny teddy bear? I was like, I absolutely would love that. That's the most adorable thing I've ever
my
fucking seen in my
God.
whole life. It's so cute. Yeah, I love that. Great.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna marry him. We're gonna start like a TikTok account doing stuff like that. So, and then I'm going to I'm gonna fuck snake guy.
Yep. Listen, Christina, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm right there with you. Listen,
he is 100% a fuckboy.
I don't care. Like I can't. Yeah. If bugs are your thing, if you like it, I love it. I love that for you. I love that journey for you.
Yep.
I can't.
You're going to strip off those affliction pants and
I will
turn on ICP and get busy.
Peel those leather pants right off those skinny little legs. Let's go.
Exactly.
Like I can't do creepy crawlies. Like, yeah. I would live in paranoia. Like, also, we live in California. If an earthquake happens and those bugs get out, I'm out. I'm out. Okay. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm not here trying to scoop up the beetles and put them back in the cage. I'm not doing any of that shit. Like, I appreciate
nobody can put
your
the beetles
love.
back together, man.
I appreciate your love for the bugs. I don't have the love for the bugs. It makes me feel all like itchy and creepy crawly. So I can't do it. But so yeah, I'm gonna marry rat guy because I think rats are cute and you can care for them well. It would be heartbreaking that they have such a short lifespan, but you know, I'm gonna marry rat guy. I'll fuck snake guy. That's fine. Like it's one night. It's one night.
All I can hear in my head is that, oh, you're crazy bitch, but you fuck so good. I'm on top of this.
Yes, and that's exactly the vibe. Yeah. That's gonna be the vibe. Yeah, it's gonna be unhinged.
Oh no,
it's gonna be fucking weird. It's gonna be very Joe Exotic coded. You know, which I'm not saying that's great, but.
Yeah, I stand by my decision.
And I do again.
I can't do that.
I know that we keep saying it, but like I've known lots of people who own snakes, and I know I've known people who own rats. There is no blanket across the board. This is this type. No. These are all just stereotypes. You know,
no, this is the person that we've created.
Yes. We're fuck, marry, killing an idea.
A concept, if you will.
A concept, yes.
Exactly.
Okay, absolutely wild.
There's be so much Faygo in that apartment.
Mountain Dew code red.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I really do. I picture a room that's like you are playing Call of Duty in the dark. Like he definitely owns one of those like very fancy gaming chairs. And everything is like
the
like
nicest
dark
piece
with
of
like black
furniture
lights.
in his house.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
There's a lot of black lights in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure. Awesome. Well, we have a new patron. So I want to give a big patron shout out. So I'm assuming that this is an alias. I assume that this is not your Christian name, but a big shout out to Retro Dude who has joined us on Patreon.
Yeah. Wait, what if it is his Christian name, Keegan, and you just...
I know. He's been battling with this his whole life. He's
life.
Like,
oh, again, somebody doesn't believe my real name is Retro Dude.
I gotta say, you gotta take that up with your parents.
Yeah,
that's gonna be all of Nick Cannon's kids in like 20 years. They're like, why did you name me Zillionaire, Dad? Why?
Wow. Well, you guys want to take 5 and then we'll come back with stories?
Yes,
sounds good.
And we're back. Okay, I have the Tainted Love this week, so I am going to kick us off with stories. So this story is one of those where the author is the worst date.
Ooh,
which is always fun. Yeah, here we go with a shame receipt. Wow, I feel like we haven't had a shame receipt in a minute. Okay.
I know.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Wow. Okay. My worst dating situation was my own fault. I'd worked at a restaurant with this guy named Matt. We were both servers there. We'd worked together for 2 months until I got a different, better job. He was my work best friend. He was the only thing I missed about my old job. The guy could carry a conversation like no other. I genuinely enjoyed spending time with him. To give some context, work best friends. Oh, there is nothing better, truly, especially if you kind of don't like your job.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Exactly.
I sent you guys that TikTok, didn't I? With the guy just squeezing that note. I want to eat glass. Like the best.
To give some context, I'm a very tall girl, around 5'11". Matt was a short, skinny guy. He was maybe 5'2". And he was also 2 years younger than me. He was 19 and I was 21. I guess because of this, it never even crossed my mind that he'd want to date me. I'm not a believer in the friend zone, but my mind had compartmentalized him into pure friend material. The thought of something else wasn't even a possibility to me, I guess. About a month after I'd left that waitressing job, Matt reached out to me. He said he'd love to get dinner with me. I thought, great, it'll be so nice to catch up with an old friend. I really did miss him. We set a date that we could both make it to. With Houston traffic, I ended up being 45 minutes late to dinner. I think we ate at Olive Garden. He's 19. He's 19.
Oh, he's like, this is the nice restaurant. Oh, baby.
But you're in Houston, so it's like you had options. It's not like, you know, because some places like, Olive Garden is the nice place in town. And also, I want to say this. I love an Olive Garden. I love a chain restaurant. There is nothing wrong at all with it. It's just kind of a funny thing where it's like you're 45 minutes to your date at the Olive Garden. He's just sitting there eating endless breadsticks, waiting for you to arrive. You know, not even old enough to order a glass of wine, you know. Okay. I think we ate at Olive Garden. We talked the whole time and he caught me up on how his life was going. It was nice. At the end of dinner, he insisted on paying. As much as I argued, I was just thinking, wow, what a great friend. After dinner, he asked me, hey, that new Avengers movie is on. You want to catch it? I actually really wanted to see it. I was like, heck yeah, let's go. It was one of those ale houses where you watch a movie while sipping on a brew. For some reason, he hopped in my car and had me drive both of us over there. I insisted on paying for the tickets, but he got the beer. I thought he was 19. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
Half the movie went great. I was really enjoying it. But then at one of the scary parts where Thor almost dies, spoiler, he grabbed my hand. For the first 60 seconds, I was confused. Like, is he just really scared and doesn't realize what he's doing? Is this a friendship hand holding?
Oh no, baby. Oh no.
Honey. Finally, the realization set in that this was a date. I didn't even hold his hand back. He was probably thinking I was the worst hand holder in the world. I just left it there limp. I did not know what to do.
Just like, freeze.
It's like a loose, floppy hand, you know?
Oh, no.
Plus, I couldn't even enjoy the rest of Thor because all I could do was think about his hand on my hand. I didn't know how to play it. I definitely wanted to see the rest of this movie, but how could I stop holding his hand without making it awkward?
Oh, no.
I decided to run to the bathroom. That would do it. I left and came back and made sure to keep my hand in my lap so he couldn't reach it. It was ineffective. He reached into my lap and held my hand.
Oh, no.
Now we were holding hands in my lap. This was so much worse. Now our fingers were intertwined.
Oh.
That's an intimate handhold.
Yeah.
The movie finally ended. I'd made it out without him trying to lean over and kiss me. I knew that since I was over a head taller than him, there was no way he could kiss me if I was standing up. As we walked out of the theater, she's like, got up real fast, stood up immediately.
And guess what? You got a longer leg stride too. If you run, I bet it could catch you. Yep.
As we walked out of the theater, I thought I was safe. We'd made it to the parking lot incident free. I forgot we'd taken my car to the theater. I still had to drive him back to the Olive Garden. He hopped in my car. We drove back and talked about how awesome Thor was. We arrived at the Olive Garden and I was like, haha, this was fun. See you later. He didn't get out. He didn't get out. Why wasn't he getting out?
Oh,
that's when it happened.
Yep. He's coming in. Coming in hot.
He's coming in. Here comes the airplane.
Closed eyes. I just see eyes closed and lips coming towards you.
Slightly moist lips. He leaned over and started full on trying to make out with me. It lasted maybe 1 second. That's actually a long time in unwanted makeout seconds. After I regained control of myself, I pulled away. He was like, Carissa, what's wrong? I started stuttering. All I could say was, I don't want to. The car was dark, but I still saw his face drop. He was like, that's fine, and started fumbling for the door handle. I think we were both frozen in the awkwardness. He finally opened the door. He got out and said, "This was fun. See you later." It was nice of him to lie, honestly. After the date was over and I replayed everything, I realized I was the dumbest person alive. He asked me out for dinner and a movie, literally the classic textbook date. How did I not realize I was on a date? I vowed to never repeat my mistakes again. This was a lie. I would obviously accidentally go on go on dates in the future. To Matt's credit, he stayed my friend. He got married 2 years ago, and he'll always get coffee and a drink with me when I'm in town. We never talked about that date ever again. It's like it never happened. He's a good guy. To all the men out there, some girls like me are idiots. If you ask a girl to dinner and a movie, she may not know she's being asked on a date. Please say the words, "Will you go on a date with me?" for all the dum-dums out there, just to be safe. Thank you.
Yeah,
oh my God.
It can be confusing though when you're already friends.
When you're friends,
That's
right?
exactly
Because it's just like, we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the big deal?
Yeah, I would do that too. But yeah, all I could think of was her at 5'11" and him like just on his tippy toes.
Have you seen that where it's like there was a TikTok where it was a tall woman and she was talking about how short men love them? Or no, I think it was a TikTok that went viral because people were stitching it where she's like, no one wants to date tall women, and then they had like a short guy who did it, and he was like looking up at the camera and he kept going uppies. He's like uppies because the whole thing was that like short men love tall women.
Uppies.
I love that. Uppies. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Okay, so my story I've got from Tinder. It says, matched with this guy on Tinder, and he seemed really funny, very cute, and sharp. A bit
Wait, you
intense.
got this story from Reddit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You said you got this story from Tinder, and I was like, is that a feature on Tinder now? Like,
oh. No, I got the story from Reddit. Okay. Matched with a guy on Tinder.
Should be, actually, if you leave reviews like Yelp.
Yes.
Yeah, but then you might get sued, But
True.
By that guy.
True. Matched with a guy on Tinder, and he seemed really funny, very cute and sharp, but a bit intense, but no red flags. A lot of COVID restrictions at the time, so couldn't go anywhere. I was spending the weekend at my friend's flat dog sitting, and we had agreed about a week prior that he'd come over one evening to keep me company. My friend was cool with it because she knew we'd been chatting for about a month or so and trusted my judgment.
Oof.
I'll preface by saying that there was an 11:30 curfew in my country, so you couldn't be outside after that time. He lived in a different city, so I expressly told him that he would have to leave by 10 at the latest, so he had enough time to drive back to his city. Anyway, he comes in, and he's brought a gift. Cocaine for us to share.
Oh. Okay.
Dude, flowers,
Hey,
a bottle of wine, one thing.
cocaine. I politely decline and just pour myself a glass of Prosecco while Mr. Escobar probes the lines. Not sure why I didn't immediately kick him out. I think my brain just stopped processing the situation and went into a paralyzed
This
shock.
is a conversation to have beforehand. Well, I mean,
100%.
like,
You've been talking to this person for a month. I think you would know whether they're cocaine fun or not.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Like this is something that you're like, hey, I like to, do you like to party? I like to party,
Right.
And I like to party with this specific drug. Because I'm like,
Yes.
Right.
I like to get wild and have some wine and watch Bake Off. And
Right,
this
yeah.
guy's like,
And he's
Exactly.
like, have you heard of Miami?
yeah.
Yes. Because I'm just like, dude, I don't want to be around especially if I'm not on your level, like
Right.
that is never a good time. Like when somebody is
Especially just for two people.
and cocaine is such an upper that it's just like if you are not on that same level vibes wise, whether you're doing cocaine or not, you don't have to be doing cocaine to be on like a a cocaine level. You know what I mean? Or like ready to hang with that. But if we're just chilling at my house, I can guarantee you I am not
I'm not
ready
cocaine
to just,
level.
Yeah, I'm not ready to watch you like, chew your jaw off and like talk about owning a restaurant. Yeah,
nonsense. Anytime I did coke, I would be like, oh my God, I am saying the smartest things.
I'm so brilliant.
Yep. I'm so
full of ideas.
Smart, full of ideas. Nonsense. It's nonsense.
Nonsense.
You're talking nonsense and you're really annoying.
You want to record yourself because you're like, I am so fucking smart right now.
Mm-hmm. You're like, I should start a podcast, actually.
Wait, is that how this happened?
Oh, man.
Within the first 20 minutes of the date, he did 4 to 5 lines and dropped the following gems.
Look, I've never done.
I will say,
I've never done cocaine, but I feel like 4 lines, 5 lines in 40 minutes, in under an hour. That seems like a lot. Is that a lot?
20 minutes.
Oh,
20 minutes.
Oh,
yeah. That seems like a lot. Even if the line is really
a party lot,
skinny, it's still that's a lot.
It's giving party vibes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's giving it's not giving I'm hanging out with my friend and just took a bump.
Yeah.
Like it's giving party. Okay, so he dropped these following gems. 1, I don't want to compliment you because I know you're used to that. And I'm not going to be one of those guys who's just going to tell you how good looking you are. Okay. Yeah, that'll teach me.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, it's kind of like, thank you. I feel like that's still a because he's still saying that he thinks you're good looking. He's just going about it in like a really weird, backwards, negging kind of way. Because he's like, because he is saying like, you get this a lot, which means you are good looking.
Arguably good looking, right? Yeah. 2, you need to learn to take better photos. Like, don't get me wrong, your photos aren't bad, but you're way better looking in person.
Okay, get the fuck out.
I'm kind of nervous.
Get out.
You probably like that, don't you? Is that like your trick?
You don't get to come into my house and insult me in my own home.
I don't know. For me, I'm partially like, I'm gonna watch this train wreck. I'm gonna watch it. Just keep riding, choo choo.
I don't know.
I happen to like my photos, but okay. Thanks for the tip. I could also almost sense a bit of irritation in his voice. Like, how does one respond to this? 3, I hope you help me overcome my addiction. I know you'll be the girl who, quote, fixes
Get
me.
out.
It's not an addiction.
Out.
But
do
I
look like a rehabilitation center to you? Do I? No.
Do I look like a fucking drug counselor? No.
No.
I'm a fucking woman. Fix yourself. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm not Jeff Van Vonderen. This isn't intervention. Get the fuck out right now.
Anyway, I need a woman's love to be a better man. He air quoted fixes. He then asked me to see my phone so he could see who else I was chatting to on Tinder. I was like, that's really weird and not something I'm comfortable with. He offers to show me his phone. No, thank you. No, this isn't tit for tat. Not interested. Nope. He goes straight in. He's showing me that he's not talked to anyone since we matched.
Good for you.
Then he goes beyond Tinder. We're now deep into his WhatsApp and texts, trying to prove how loyal he's been to me. Good stuff. I feel blessed. I'm just sat there silently watching this car crash unfold in slow motion. He says, person who wrote this, I don't like playing games. You see this here, gesturing to a chat in WhatsApp. That's a girl's name. We had sex a few months ago and see what she's texting me. She wants to see me again. Yeah, I got a girl out there just begging for it.
Okay, go hang out with her then. She sounds available.
Here with you. I know. I'm sat here with you, showing you my phone like one of them little boys from your past, and you're just being shady. Like, I just want to see what your phone is. You saw mine, right? What's the big deal? What do you got to hide? I'm giggling at this point because, sir, show me these other little boys. Who are they? Are they in the room with us?
Honestly.
Like, what are you talking about? B, I'm a little terrified and unsure how safely remove him from my flat. Like, I just wasn't in the mood to be that dumb bitch on the evening news who invited some Tinder dude into her house on a first date and then became a victim of a coke-fueled stabbing. Plus, it's going to stress out the dogs to witness my murder. So, much to consider.
Yeah, honestly, like that could be like a very unsafe situation. I mean,
100%.
somebody's doing like a lot, like a party amount of coke.
Oh, absolutely.
And then working themselves up and getting agitated. Molly,
Yeah,
you in danger.
You in danger, girl. Mm-hmm. Long story made slightly shorter. I ask him to leave. He gets up in a huff, gets his jacket, keys, and phone. He's pissed off as well and acting like he's angry at me and doesn't want to be there anymore anyway. So I'm thinking, great, good, grand, right? Bye. Let him think he's storming off. As he's about to get to the door, I think the situation catches up with him. He's telling me he thinks he's acted a bit weird and the situation got out of hand, but he doesn't need to leave. We can fix this.
No, we don't need to. Why?
No, I'm plenty.
I'm
Thank
plenty.
you.
Yeah, you can go.
I'm plenty. No, thank you. Says he's just nervous because when he saw my picture, he had me here, raises his hand above his head. And now he sees me in real life. He has me here and raises his hand all the way above his head. Big compliment, flattery all around. I'm touched. I tell him to please leave. He obliges, and I lock the door behind him.
Since that seems to be a language he can understand, I think you can be like, well, in the month that we were talking, I had you here, like chin level. And now that I've hung out with you for an hour, I have you here, like floor level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you understand that? Okay, great.
Perfect. So good riddance. Glad that's over. And I never have to. Phone rings. It's him. I pick up because clearly I'm a fucking moron.
He's like, I forgot my cocaine. Can I come back up?
Mine's now.
Throw it out the window. I'm in the car outside. This is him. I'm in the car outside and I'm not asking to come back, but please, can I get a blanket to sleep in? It's cold and I don't want to drive back. It's just, I'll stay here. And if you change your mind and you want to talk to me, I'll be here.
You don't get to sleep in my, sir, my guy, look, again, I've never done cocaine. Does it make you have crazy fucking ideas like this where you're like, this'll work. Yeah. This'll get her, I can sleep in my car. And then you wake up with a cocaine hangover. You're coming down and you wake up in a parking lot and are you just like,
depressed?
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
That was a horrible mistake.
and you'll feel it with your whole body.
Oh, the shame. The deep shame of waking up in your date's like apartment parking lot.
No.
She's like, at this time, I tell him he's being incredibly manipulative and that I'm not going to change my mind and that he has plenty of time to drive back home. So he needs to get a move on. He stayed. He actually stayed. I didn't call the police because I didn't feel threatened and it's a safe building. He was gone in the morning. I don't know how many times he must have tried calling or texting because I blocked him at that point. We've been married for 2 years and have 3 children.
Shut up.
I never saw him again.
I'm like, no, you haven't. Don't.
Oh my God. Oh, like that took a turn. Oh my God. No, dude, like... I hope he didn't try to contact her after waking up. I feel like, yeah, he had to have known that he just whiffed it. Ugh.
I hope so. I would hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a real bummer wake up call in the morning.
All right, ladies, I have a story. It's giving real snake guy behavior. So
snake eye energy.
Snake eye energy. Yes. Okay. This person says, now that I don't live in Seattle any longer, I feel safe talking about this experience. My date is on the business side of tech, so I don't know if this counts as a tech bro, but he's one of those MBAs.
Yes. I'm going to say yeah. Yeah.
I thought he was reasonably well adjusted. This is going to be slightly...
Here we go.
This is going to be slightly not safe for work. I met him through a hookup app. The first date, was not really a date. He just wanted a Monica Lewinsky, if you will.
Okay, great.
He told me where his apartment was, one of those high-rise luxury apartments. I arrived and the doorman buzzed me in. He texted asking if I could grab his pizza delivery in the lobby on the way up. So I did.
Sexy.
This feels like a beginning of a porn.
I show up with pizza in hand. When he opened the door, he was in his boxers and Crocs.
Oh,
sir.
Okay. Are you going to be eating pizza in your Crocs while I'm giving you a BJ? Please.
No. Ew.
It's just a pepperoni falls on top of your head.
Ew. Oh, come on.
Okay, if he wanted to be comfy in his own home, whatever. I knew it was just a hookup and didn't really expect him to be all dolled up.
No, listen, look, you don't have to get dolled up, but like respect me. Okay,
Yeah, right.
like I am coming
Behave.
over here to do you a service. You respect me.
It is
okay?
it is a blow job. It's not
Yes.
it's not a blowcation. It's not blow party.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
a fucking job. I am providing
And I'm taking
you.
it seriously. And I
Yes.
take it seriously. And I would appreciate it if you took it seriously. Take a fucking shower. Put on some actual pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: at my ripe old age, I am not entry level either. I am senior fucking management at this job.
That's exactly.
So
Yeah.
put some
CEO of blowjob.
exactly entrepreneur.
It's on your Tinder profile, CEO of blowjob.
exactly. So
Self.
you put some fucking respect on my name, okay? All right.
Put some mystery in there and smile
And
when
I
I show
picked
up,
up your
okay?
pizza for you. Am I like your DoorDash driver? Like what? What is this like? Did you find me on TaskRabbit? Stop it right now.
The hookup app. TaskRabbit.
hey, they might.
Someone's used it for that, definitely. You know, someone.
Exactly.
Maybe.
It has. So we chatted very briefly, during which I discovered how demanding and psychotic he was. It was at night, and he kept checking his email because he was expecting a quick response from his team at 11 p.m.
Shareholders.
No, you weren't.
Shareholders, exactly. So many
I
shareholders.
think cocaine might also be involved in this story.
Exactly. When I got to the Monica Lewinsky part, I was kind of relieved because I felt something really off about him. But he was kind of hot, and it was just a hookup, so I thought,
Okay.
whatevs. At least
right.
I didn't have to talk to him anymore. He was much more engaging and polite over text. And then I felt
No.
a drop of hot liquid on the back
No.
of my head. I
I
looked
fucking
up.
told
Keegan.
you. I told you.
He was holding a slice of pizza, about to take a bite, and the hot oil was dripping off the side and landing on my head.
The disrespect to fucking you're not even focused on my work. I'm over here working a masterpiece for you, and like you fucking are eating a slice of cheese
I'm out.
pizza. I'm out. Yeah,
out.
I would have to get up and leave.
We're done.
I have.
Yeah.
We're done here.
We're so done. You're fired. You're fucking fired. You're fired.
Step into my office. You're fucking fired.
Exactly. He didn't even ask if it was okay. He just thought he'd go for a pizza while I did the Monica Lewinsky. I got up and left. I never told
That's
anyone
right.
till now.
Yes, queen. Self-respect. That's exactly right.
And she adds, and if you, NBA Pizza Bro, ever hear this, in the very off chance I didn't get to say this to you before I unmatched, fuck you.
Oh, yes.
I hope you're listening, NBA Pizza Bro.
A round of applause. A round of applause. Amazing.
Very good. Very good. I love this.
Listen,
Well, I hate it, but
I've definitely just been like down to clown. That's fine. But you're exactly right, Keegan. It's like the lack of fucking respect. It's like, then just go buy a fucking sex
Hire
toy.
somebody.
Or hire somebody.
Or pay somebody
Yeah.
to do it. Because if you're not going to at least participate in at least pay somebody.
Yeah.
If you're going to be, At least let somebody get something out of it.
Did he offer her any pizza? At least
no,
Okay.
no, it's not even fucking pizza, and that's why I'm like, then get a sex toy. Then, if you're not going to treat another human being like a human being, if that's all you want is to just like pleasure yourself and eat pizza, they make toys for that. They do.
They do.
Also,
and honestly, yeah, I'm kind of like, don't pay somebody. I don't even want you treating somebody
right.
that you would pay.
You can't even give me your full attention. Like, that's the thing. I would feel equally as just, we talked about this before with Leonardo DiCaprio, where it's like he fucks with AirPods in, or like if you're on your Nintendo Switch while I'm giving you a blowjob, get fucked or don't. Actually, I mean, actually don't. But
actually
like,
don't.
Yeah. But what the fuck, you know?
Well, and that's the thing. I don't know. Is it different for guys? I could not eat pizza and come.
No. Oh no, me neither.
No. Guys might be different though. Maybe they don't need quite as much mental stimulation.
Yeah.
As long as they're getting physical stimulation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not a guy, so I can definitely not speak to those parts.
Me too. Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brain's got to be in it. If my brain's not in it, we're beep boop boop.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's definitely take 5 from that one. I feel filthy. And we're back. Hey, Keegan.
Hey.
Tell us a story.
I would love to. I do have the Tainted Love this week. And when I say I would love to,
I was just going to say.
This is a really rough one, actually. So get ready. Hold on. Okay, so Grace Emmy Rose Millane was born on December 2nd, 1996 in Wickford, Essex. She was said by friends and family to be outgoing, fun-loving, and family-oriented. She was the only girl of 3 children and was so close to her brothers and parents, Jillian and David, that she texted and called almost every day, even when she went away to study at the University of Lincoln. So she was plugged in. I can see it in my head. It's like they had a family group chat and they were always kind of in touch with each other. They were talking all the time.
I love that.
I do too. Yeah. After graduating with a bachelor's degree in advertising and marketing, she decided to take a gap year before settling into a career and chose to spend 10 months solo traveling. Love that too. Like, I'm like, oh, how fun, you know, and that's the time in your life to do that kind of thing. So first she went to South America, where she spent 6 weeks traveling and backpacking around the region before heading out to New Zealand, where she planned on spending 2 weeks, arriving at the base backpackers hostel in Auckland on November 30th, 2018.
I hate being a woman sometimes. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely a cautionary tale. Actually, Cassie, when you were telling your story, and you'll see why, I was really thinking about this story. So.
Oh, no. I did see your face and I was like, oh, this is really hitting in a strong way.
So Grace was 21. She was single. She'd been traveling solo for a while. So she was feeling lonely. She got to Auckland. She's feeling lonely. So she did what many young people do in this situation. She got on Tinder. So she got on Tinder. She quickly matched with a 26-year-old man named Jesse Kempson. So Jesse was handsome, he was charming, and it wasn't surprising that Grace was drawn to him. What she didn't know was that Jesse was basically a serial liar and a con man. So Jesse was born on December 28th, 1991, and was brought up in New Zealand by his grandparents after his parents divorced when he was a young child. He spent a brief period in Australia before relocating back to New Zealand in his 20s. He basically got through life by lying and manipulating people. A former landlord would later come forward saying that Jesse owed him months of rent and was able to convincingly charm his way into not paying rent. Like, he would say that he was a professional softball player, freshly signed by the New Zealand's national softball team, the Black Sox. But and he's like, the money is coming. I just need my signing bonus, is like what he kept.
My anxiety,
saying, right?
I could never. I just could never.
Okay.
I couldn't live the life of a con person. I'd be too anxious and stressed out all the time, for sure.
It always makes me wonder what his childhood was like, where he had to develop that as a mechanism, like a survival tactic. And this,
Right.
never learned empathy,
right? And it's likely some combination of nature and nurture, right? Like it almost always is. It's like this person is more prone to like not giving a shit about other people already, you know, and then has learned to get out of things or get away with things or get what he wants by lying and manipulating, and that's just worked, you know. So he was saying that he's like, I am just waiting for my signing bonus from the Black Sox, but you know, months are going by and he's not paying his rent. So the landlord finally called the team. He called the Black Sox and they were like, we've never heard of Jesse Kempson ever. And before the landlord could confront him about it, Jesse had skipped town. He fled. So he would tell other lies too. At times he had claimed to have a bachelor's degree in international law, said he came from a family of millionaires who were looking into buying top Auckland real estate. He was like, I have contacts with immigration in New Zealand. He was just lying just to lie. Like he would just tell lies about that made him more important than he was.
I dated somebody like that. It was like allergic to the truth.
You're
just like, I know you're lying. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, and lying about stuff you don't need to be lying about. You know, like it's just like
the worst.
It doesn't even make sense to be lying about these things, you know?
Yeah.
Jesse would float from place to place, charming roommates and landlords, and then scamming them out of rent money or straight up stealing from them before moving on. So a common thread seemed to be that Jesse's appearance threw people off, with one landlord or former landlord who was scammed out of rent stating, quote, generally, he was an extremely tidy, well-dressed person. He didn't look suspicious on the surface. So he looked like a normal, you know, fairly good-looking
he's
guy.
white.
He is white, indeed. Yes. Indeed he is. So by the time he matched with Grace on Tinder, he had mastered the art of lying, manipulating, and charming people into giving him what he wanted. And it seemed like Grace was no exception. She had chatted with Jesse for days, and she was clearly smitten with him. She texted a friend saying that her and Jesse just clicked really, really well. She's like, I don't know, we just clicked so well, right? As her December 2nd birthday approached, Grace was excited when Jesse asked to meet in person. He was staying just a few minutes away from the hostel, and not wanting to spend her birthday alone, she happily accepted his offer to take her out on a date. And they decided on the night before her birthday, which was December 1st, because it was a Saturday. So it really just breaks my heart, because the thing about this story is there's CCTV footage everywhere they go. So there's CCTV footage.
So you can see them.
Mm-hmm. And there's CCTV footage of her showing up at the restaurant, and you can just tell that she's this like very happy and confident young woman. I can't describe how you can tell, but because it's, you know, CCTV footage, it's kind of like far away and blurry, but it's something about the way that she is carrying herself, you know, like she just like moves through the world in this very easy way. So while Grace waited for Jesse at their meeting place, which was the iconic Sky Tower in Auckland, CCTV showed him at a hole-in-the-wall bar called the Bluestone Room, where he downed 4 beers in half an hour before going to meet her. It's a lot.
Sir.
Half an hour, yes.
Oof. Wow.
Grace,
so unnecessary.
And Grace had chosen a public place for the two to meet in the Sky Tower near a display of Christmas trees. So not even like in the restaurant portion, like she was like, let's meet out in the main area where there are like lots of other people around.
Smart.
So you can see on the CCTV the moment they meet, and like they greet each other with like smiles and big hugs. And then they go to a burger place and bar where they had some cocktails. Jesse paid for their drinks. Then they went to a Mexican restaurant where between the two of them, they had 2 pitchers of margaritas and sangria before he took her back to the Bluestone Room near Grace's hostel. So they've had drinks at he's had 4 beers. They've had cocktails at the burger place, and they've had 2 pitchers of margaritas, and they're going back to a bar. Okay.
That is a lot.
It's a lot. So he's very relaxed. He's really buddy-buddy with everyone there. I mean, he was just there earlier in the evening. Yeah, hey. So they had a few more drinks. You can see on the cameras that they're like making out a little bit. And at one point, she gets up to go to the bathroom, and you can see him scrolling on his phone. And it's at this time that he's made his way to her Facebook, and he comments on one of her Facebook profile pictures. He comments beautiful, calls her radiant, all that stuff. So after that, they leave and they head over to the City Life Hotel, where CCTV catches them entering the building, arms wrapped around each other. They enter room 308.
Is this the place she's staying?
No, she's staying at a hostel. This is a hotel that's like, it's nearby. So I don't know if he was staying there or if he just got the hotel for the night.
Right.
So they enter room 308 at a little after 9:30 p.m. And everything that happened in that room is unknown. But what we do know is that by 1:30 a.m. on her birthday, December 2nd, Grace would be dead. Yeah, terrible.
Aww.
Another thing we know is that after her death, Jesse does not call for help. Instead, he Googles the terms, quote, hottest fire. And I'm going to say this wrong because I meant to look up how to pronounce it and I didn't. But Waitakere Ranges on his phone. So that's kind of like, I think it's like a national park type thing in New Zealand.
Okay.
Before getting on his phone and scrolling Pornhub for a bit.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
So basically it'd be like the equivalent of like Googling Death Valley.
Yes.
Here.
I mean, and again, she's
being like,
it was proven, forensics would later go on to prove that she was dead by this time and he's on porn sites.
Fucking on Pornhub.
Yeah. So, I know that's so terrible.
Disgusting.
Sometimes it's hard to know where to give trigger warnings because I'm like, all of it's terrible. That's really terrible. But
it really hits for some reason. Yeah, it's so fucking disgusting.
Well, I'm going to warn you because this next part is the thing that really like got me. And the rest of this story, listen, it's going to be incredibly triggering, especially for women, but for anyone who's ever had a date with a stranger,
Yeah.
But this next part is really, really bad. So, I mean, if you're already feeling like, ugh, I don't know if this is for you, but investigators would later find 7 images of Grace's naked body on Jesse's phone. In the images, he manipulated her dead body into a variety of poses, and even took close-ups of parts
what
of her
a monster.
body. Yeah.
My God.
He then went to sleep with Grace's body still in the room. When he awoke the next morning, he texted another woman he had met on Tinder trying to arrange a date for that night.
Oh my God, what is wrong with this guy?
Before getting up, getting dressed, and heading to the store where he bought a large suitcase. He then went to a grocery store where he bought cleaning supplies, and then to a rental car place where he rented a Toyota hatchback. He cleaned up the room, which had bloodstains up and down the hallway, as best as he could, before making his way to his afternoon Tinder date that he had set up that morning.
You guys.
Yep.
How is this not, is this the first? I mean, this is so, this is so disconnected.
Yeah, this person is a psychopath, not to armchair but you're looking at such all of this screams to a complete lack of empathy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So he goes to his date. His date, who has never been named publicly, said that Jesse was very intense, quiet, and calm. His date was a journalist, and when talking, and there was other stuff too on this date, like he was lying about a bunch of stuff, that was then later proven to not be true. But his date was a journalist, and when talking about a murder trial she once attended, Jesse allegedly stated, quote, "It's crazy how guys can make one wrong move and go to jail for the rest of their life." He then went on to say that he had heard about a guy who asked his girlfriend to have rough sex, but it had gone wrong and she had died in the process. uncomfortable, obviously. His date quickly changed the subject. She's like, why are we talking about this? You know, he, told her a number of outlandish things that she knew they were lies. Like, it was like she could tell that he was lying. And she was so uneasy by the end of the date that when she left, she didn't go directly to her car. Like, she was like afraid that he was going to follow her to her car or follow her somewhere. So he texted her later that day asking for a second date, and she obviously declined. On his way back to the hotel, he rented a rug doctor and told the front desk that it was for some red wine that he had spilled. A little while later, he requested a luggage trolley and loaded up 2 suitcases. One he had arrived at the hotel with, and one that he had bought earlier that day. He loaded them, and you can see the CCTV footage of him taking the luggage trolley in the elevator, and there aren't other people in the elevator with him. Like, I can't even imagine. Like,
oh my God, I'm never going to be able to go into a hotel and see another person with luggage again. Oh.
Also, I'm sorry, if I'm the hotel and you bring in a rug doctor, nobody fucking does that.
Well, and I'm like, we have cleaning people. So even if you went and like rented the rug doctor, like, why don't we send one of our cleaning people up there to...
Yes.
We can... Thank you for renting it. We'll take care of it.
We'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Right. That, I just
wine,
think that...
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah.
So he loads the suitcases into the back of the rented Toyota, and on his way out of town, he stops and buys a shovel. Now... remember how I said that Grace and her family were super close? They were super close. They texted all the time. They texted every day on a normal day. So Grace, it's her birthday. She's not responding to any calls or any text messages.
Oh
so they are immediately concerned, right? Like, it would be weird. So with their daughter in another country, they're starting to get frantic, as you can imagine. They did all they could from England before officially reporting Grace missing 3 days later, when she still hadn't been heard from and no one had come forward as having seen her. So they're talking to the hostel. They're talking to like authorities in Auckland. Nobody knows where Grace is. And at this point, they're like, okay, we need to report her missing. And a huge manhunt went underway immediately. And it wasn't long before police were able to determine that Grace had been in contact with Jesse, who they brought in for questioning. In the meantime, Grace's family traveled to New Zealand, where her father made a public appeal. The thing that sparked the interest of police and Grace's family in regards to Jesse was that Facebook comment that he had made, because it was so close to the time when she was last seen. So because he had made that comment like right before they went to the hotel. So it actually, like, that's kind of the thing that initially sparked their interest. They called Jesse in for an interview, leaving messages asking him to come into the station. But before they heard back from him, so they're swarming the City Life Hotel, right? Like, obviously. And while they're doing that, they see Jesse in the lobby. Like, why is he there? So they spot him in the lobby.
Right.
They're like, that's fucking weird. That's suspicious. So they're like, you know what? We're just going to apprehend you now and take you in for questioning. So they do that. During the first interview, he insists that he and Grace had parted ways at 10 p.m. When confronted with the plethora of CCTV footage, he finally admits in a second interview that Grace had died while they were together, but that it was an accident, and that Grace had wanted, quote, rough sex and had asked to be choked during consensual sex and had accidentally died. So this is what he says.
That's not... No, that's not how that works. I hate that has come up a couple of times in true crime. It's like blame the victim, of course. But as somebody that does enjoy some choking in the bedroom, you can definitely tell when
it switches from enjoyable to not.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and it's like that. No, that's not how that works.
It's not a good excuse. No.
And
it takes a long time to kill somebody that way.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. You would know before.
It takes a long time and a lot of pressure.
Yeah. He then agreed to take police to Grace's body, which was still in the suitcase in a shallow grave in the Waitakere Ranges Regional Park. So he had Googled that after she died, and that is where he buried her body. And I saw a picture of the suitcase. He barely dug a hole deep enough to put the suitcase in.
Jesus. What kind of behavior? Like I said, there should, like, how is there not a trail of bodies? Like, that's insane.
Yeah. An autopsy determined that Grace had been strangled and bruises on her body were consistent with being restrained. During the trial, Jesse attempted to explain Grace's death as being accidental after rough intercourse that had horribly gone wrong. Not surprisingly, the defense was riddled with victim blaming and sparked conversations on social media, some of which blamed Grace for going back to Jesse's room in the first place.
No.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Mm-hmm. Fuck you.
And this was a quote that I got from Detective Inspector Scott Beard, who was the lead investigator on the case. He said, quote, "Essentially, the rough sex defense re-victimizes the victim and their families in a murder case. Their families who are sitting in court. The victim isn't there to answer."
Yep. Exactly.
The jury of 7 women and 5 men heard from experts who called Kempson a sociopath. They also heard from women on Tinder who he had made extremely uncomfortable. He had shared a number of conversations with women on the app in which he told one that he liked masochism, bondage, sex, and strangulation. And this is a good time to say that we are not kink shaming in any way, but obviously there are boundaries when engaging in domination, strangulation, anything else. And all those things need to be laid out very clearly beforehand.
That's right.
Yeah.
The jury found Jesse guilty, and on the 21st of February 2020, Kempson was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum non-parole period of 17 years. Following the trial, 2 other women came forward against Kempson. One, a former live-in girlfriend, testified that he had threatened to kill her with a butcher knife, saying that he had been, quote, sent by the CIA to kill her, and subjected her to humiliating sex acts, confinement, and violence for months. He was sentenced to 7.5 years in that case. In yet another trial, a woman, also a British tourist who had been vacationing in New Zealand, came forward and said that just 3 months before Grace's death, Jesse had raped her in a hotel room, was very violent towards her, and threatened to kill her with a knife. After the assault, she went to Auckland police, who told her that the case would be, quote, too difficult to prosecute, as it was he said, she said. They granted her an order of protection and sent her on her way. So she was very vocal after this because she was like, Grace didn't have to die. Like, if you had taken me seriously when I came to you the first time, like, this might not have happened. Because it was only a matter of time. Cassie, I don't know if he'd ever actually killed someone in the past. I'm not sure. But Grace might have been his first, but there was escalating violent behavior.
Of course.
That very clear signs where people had come forward to police in the past and let him slide by until it finally got to this point. So,
I mean, hopefully this was the only, it doesn't seem like he was very smart.
No,
necessarily
he wasn't very smart about
like how but I mean, not gonna armchair break down that.
What this case makes me think of is like the reason why we have the Tainted Love section to begin with is because like there are thousands and thousands of examples of meeting up with a Tinder date, having a whole slew of drinks, going back to a hotel room and having a good time.
That's right.
You know, like nothing happens.
Right.
And it's just like, I feel like every time I hear one of these stories, I'm like scrutinizing it. Like what was the flag? Like, what can I learn from this? You know, what's something we can tell people like that? That's the moment.
Watch for this.
But there's
Watch
not
for this,
there's
but
not always.
it's not.
You know what I mean? Like there just isn't always.
And it's so sad.
And the only way, and it's not. It isn't fair. But it's like you almost have to be like so cautious. Like where it's just. And how do you even navigate that? Like how do you even? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know.
And And it's just sad too, because, obviously like Grace came from such a great background with a loving family. And like you were saying earlier in the story, like you could just tell that she walked with happiness and everything. So, I think sometimes in those cases, like she wouldn't have even thought for a second of being in danger.
And this guy was a practiced liar, right? Like it's not like this was the first person that he'd manipulated or that he was able to successfully lie to or able to successfully charm. I mean, a person who lives this way, who can lie for months to get out of paying rent, who can scam roommates out of money, who like they obviously have a quality. I think it is that kind of like psychopath charm or like whatever that is, that it's not her fault for falling for that at all. Like, So this woman who he had raped previously, whose identity is protected, but describes herself at the time of her assault as young, naive, and a hopeless romantic, believes that if police had taken her claim seriously, like I said, and looked into him, that this murder never would have happened.
Yep.
Jesse was sentenced to 3.5 years for that crime. For his part, Jesse continued to show no remorse, lashing out at a judge during one of his 3 trials, shouting, "You have no reason to convict me. You're full of shit."
Wow.
So
that'll get you out of it.
No fucking remorse.
Wow.
He has run out of appeals on his conviction of the murder of Grace, though he continues to appeal the other 2 convictions. After his conviction for Grace's murder, her family made a public statement saying, "Grace was our sunshine and she will be missed forever." Her mother, Gillian Millane, and cousin, Hannah O'Callaghan, founded the charity Love Grace to help women affected by domestic violence. The charity collects handbags and fills them with toiletries for victims of abuse. As of December 2023, they had donated 15,600 handbags in the United Kingdom and internationally. The charity also raises money for the White Ribbon Campaign, which is a global movement of men and boys working to end male violence against women and girls. In the British 2024 New Year honors, both Gillian Millane and Hannah O'Callaghan were appointed officers of the Order of the British Empire for services of charitable fundraising and tackling violence against women. Helena Cohn, who's a documentary filmmaker who made a documentary about Grace's case, said this on why this case resonates. She said, quote, "I've been in that position, and probably every woman in the history of the world has been in that position on a new date with someone that you don't really know. We're excited to be there. The CCTV footage shows a young girl having fun in a new country. She was just a normal young woman who absolutely didn't deserve what was about to happen to her." So I think that really does say it all. Everyone has been in a similar situation before.
That's right.
Yep.
We've all taken calculated risks on dates.
Absolutely.
We do it every day with people that we meet, even if you're not on dates. We take risks all the time with new people that we meet, choosing to trust people. And it's very scary, and it feels especially scary because it feels like maybe there's nothing we can do to prevent it entirely, short of locking yourself in your house and never going out.
Right.
So all these people who want to shame Grace for like having gone back to his hotel room, having had this many drinks, having done XYZ, you can't ever do enough to protect yourself from people like this. People like this are going to find a way to hurt people no matter what.
Well, it's exactly what Christina said, which is that like, we try to find the logic or the clue or the thing or the thing that's, the pin in it all. But there isn't. Like she said, there's millions of people go on dates every day and they end up, telling a funny story or and we laugh at those things. But then there are these stories that one in every thousands and thousands of good dates, there's this. It's just...
Well, I mean,
there is no serious predictor.
Yeah, and anything can go wrong at any time. Like Cassie, when you're telling your story, and it's like, yeah, okay, it's fine because he left.
Right.
And like that's how that ended, but it very easily could have gone a different way. Like you don't know this person who's in your house, and you don't know them, even though she spent a month in your story, she had been talking to him for a month. You feel like you know someone after talking to them for a month, and clearly she didn't really know this person. And now he's in your house, he's high on cocaine, and in that case he did leave, but what if he didn't? Like there's just it could go any which way at any time, and you wouldn't know. True. You know,
you really don't. Oh, wow, that is a sad story. It's incredibly sad.
It's a real rough one,
and yeah. But again, it's just like Christina said. It's the reason we introduced this segment specifically because and it's a scary thing.
It
can go incredibly wrong
too, because I've said on this podcast, and it's something that I still intend to do, still want to do, is I want to solo travel. It's something that I think would be really fulfilling to my life. It's something I want to do in my life, and I will do in my life. But as a woman, unfortunately, I mean, as anybody, but like especially as women, it is a risk. It is you have to think so much harder about your safety. And you have to, just kind of decide, like, is this worth the potential risk for me? Is this experience that I could have worth the potential risk? Am I willing to take that on? You have to think that all the time. And it's not fair. Like, she's a young woman who should have been able to say, I want to take a gap year to explore the world before I, go back to my hometown and settle down, Like,
I mean, I'm going to Germany for, and part of that time I'll be by myself. You know what I mean? It is scary. I mean, we've talked about even when I used to travel for work all the time, it's just, you do things that in your mind, you're like, oh, this is stupid. I don't need to take the wrong floor to fool somebody. But maybe I did. I don't know. And you'd make all these calculated choices and decisions to either think you're avoiding.
Yeah. And you might feel silly. I think that happens a lot where like, I'm just being paranoid. I'm just being silly. But whenever we tell that story, like he went on a date with his previous date dead in his hotel room, and she's like, I got an icky vibe. And I didn't go to my car right away. And it turns out like there are people who might look at that and be like, oh, you're being extra, you're being too paranoid. But it turns out that the person you were on a date with was a sociopath. You weren't being stupid.
Trust your gut. Trust those vibes. Rather be looked at as silly than the other side of it. So you can think I'm silly all you want, I guess, is the way I think of it. Oh gosh. Well,
what are you guys watching?
You guys are gonna love this. Chris and I started watching White Lotus, the second season. We didn't skip the first season because we're like we kind of, but everybody talks about the second season. White Lotus.
Oh, White Lotus. Okay, amazing. I'm so happy for you. Welcome to the journey.
We are like, I think about halfway through.
I will say,
it's so good.
I think I liked the second season better, but the first season is wackier. Well, I don't know, because there's definitely unhinged shit that happens in the second season too. Like it is a wild ride. Enjoy.
Yeah, it's already a little. What the fuck? But
I love it. I can't wait for the next season. I will say we finished this season of Fargo, which was
I heard it was amazing.
Pretty phenomenal. Yeah. Just a great story. It's Juno Temple is incredible in it. John Hamm is really good. Jennifer Jason Leigh. It's just it's great. T to B. So
nice.
I recommend.
Well, okay, I have two kind of, because I did at the time we're recording this, because we are recording ahead one so that Cassie can get nice and settled in Germany. Only one episode of the new season of True Detective has come out, and I did watch it, and it was so good.
Okay.
I thought it was so good. So, you know, it has that kind of creepy vibe of like you're in Alaska when it's dark 24/7. So there's that. Mm-hmm. So I'm just watching it. I'm like, I'm so cold watching this show.
Oh, no.
And then Jodie Foster is incredible. John Hawkes,
she's great.
incredible. So loving it so far. And other than that, I haven't been watching anything new, but I did listen. There's a author named Jennifer McMahon who I enjoy, and she had a new release this year or end of last year called My Darling Girl. And her books are kind of like atmospheric, kind of creepy, but rarely do I feel like they go into the realm of like actual horror kind of novel. And this one felt that way to me. And because I knew it was her, so I just put it on hold at Libby at the library. And it's demon possession, which she hadn't done before. And I'm like, I actually very much enjoyed it. So if that's something, and I enjoyed listening to it too, because it was kind of creepy, kind of a slow burn, creepy sensation.
Ooh.
Oh, all right. Well, hey, if you guys have a horrible date story to share with us, if you have something that we should watch, if you just want to reach out and say hello, go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com, and we love you so much.
Cheers.